Founders, welcome back to the 0 to 5,000 podcast, where we obsess over the convergence of human potential and business results. Today, our hosts Drew McClure and Jordan Mitchell have another insightful conversation for you. So let's jump right in.
All right, founders, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are joined by Steve Griggs. Now, here's the deal. Not all landscape designers are created equal, and Steve Griggs is living proof. For dirty jobs that require engineering, plant science, and innovation, he is the landscape architect to call. With decades of experience that span hundreds of homes, lots of spray cans, and dozens of worn-out boots, Steve is the guy when you want more than a pretty garden. Steve is a creatively candid craftsman who enjoys a good cigar, and the media loves him. He's a two-time recipient of the Inc. 5000 Award. He's appeared on Bravo's Backyard Envy, Good Morning La La Land, and Grant Cardone's Power Players. Forbes, Huffington Post, and the Wall Street Journal have all featured him in their publications. That's a long way from his humble beginning with nothing more than a wheelbarrow and hard work. Steve is highly regarded in New York and surrounding states, but he's spreading his wings to take on clients in other parts of the world. And today, to tell us his story, is Steve himself. Steve, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Joe. Good to be here. Tigers.
Go Tigers. We just talked about that. I'm a former Clemson alum, and his son made his way from New York down to Clemson to the great old state of South Carolina. So we have that to bond over. Did you get to go visit him in person? Did you get to see Clemson's campus?
Yeah, I went to a few games for sure.
On the water with the mountains right there.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great time. Great to be in college. I wish I was going back to school.
That's right. Well, tell me this. How did you get involved with this trade in the first place? Is this something you fell into, something you knew you always wanted to do? Where'd it start?
So a lot of times when I'm on this podcast, I get asked that same question. How'd you start? Right. So, yeah. I mean, it all started back when they took one of those high school aptitude tests. You know, you check the boxes, and I check all the boxes where I need to be outside, creative, whatever. Right. So the grades weren't that good. So I ended up going to a small school in upstate New York, got my horticulture degree. And then I transferred to Mississippi State and got my landscape architecture degree. My father was a union construction worker, not owned the company, just worked for the construction union in New York City. And I'd come home from the winter vacations and I would work with him in this New York City, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And he always say, "Oh, come join the union, come join the union." I was like, this would be like jail for me. Be like jail. So then when I graduated from Mississippi State, I took a job with a high-end pool company. The owner was from Italy, and the way that he would interact with the clients and the speed and the efficiency that he got the jobs done, and I was able to pull what I learned working in New York City, where no excuses, get up and go to work no matter what, sick, he had 5 kids, so he always had to go to work. So that kind of instilled me. So I try to carry that into my business, and that was 40 years ago.
Wow. When did you actually start your own thing?
I don't know, 1980.
Was that scary or natural? Like, was it a natural next step or a scary risk at the time?
Well, that was before I was married. No responsibilities.
Yeah.
I'd rather bet on myself. Like, if I'm going to bet, I'm going all in on myself.
Yeah.
If I'm going to fail, I'll fail myself. Right. And it's not always it's not all peaches and cream, right? No, we were 2008, couldn't sell anything. And then we had COVID come, right? So, but COVID actually worked out very well for us because we were outside and people just wanted to be outside and business exploded, right?
Yeah.
So here I am all these years later, still doing it. Everybody's like, "Oh, when are you going to retire?" I think I'm one of those guys, man, that
just love it.
I mean, you love certain parts of it. We're running your own business, dealing with the guys and the headaches. Nobody loves that part, but I think I love the hunt. I love the game, right? So I love the game. Well, I don't play golf. I'd be bored fishing.
Yeah.
I just like the hunt.
So
like being in the game, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. So that's what I'm already curious about is I'm sure there are so many landscape architects out there or someone that owns a lawn care business or something like that that has not reached the heights of success that you have. Is that the hunt in you? Is that you like actually playing the game of business, not just doing the landscape architecting?
Well, I think it really comes down to Yeah, so we'll design and I will coordinate the entire project and build killer backyards for customers, right? So the job, I got a pretty good job. I mean, you get to spend other people's money and build cool shit, right?
Yeah.
That's the fun side of it. But then the other side of it is, running a business is lonely. It's a grind. A lot of days, you have days when you wake up, you're like, I don't know, it's weird. Like some days you wake up and ready to. I like to tell my wife, someday I'm the hammer and someday I'm the nail, right?
Yes.
Someday I come home and I'm dragging ass. And I said, today I was the nail, man. I just got beat up. And some days I come home and I'm top of the world. I said, I freaking killed it today. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Every day is, like every day is not the same.
How do you,
Mentally.
I know. So I run my own business. I feel the same thing you do. Sometimes it feels lonely. There's high highs, there's low lows.
Yep.
How have you ridden that roller coaster and not have it crush you over 40 years?
You just know that, okay, like we'll be back tomorrow. I'll call it a day. I'll call it a day. I try not to bring my work home.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't work in the business. Um, and then I'll keep killing it.
I like that.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's smart. I think it's smart to know when today is not your day. You still probably finish what you got to finish, but like to some degree, going like, let me call it wraps. Tomorrow might be a
Yeah, one
different day.
second. Vicky, I'm on a podcast. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good.
One of my workers, right? You see? Like,
I love it. Come on, Vicky. You got to read the room.
She's outside. I can see her. She's gonna
Yeah, I
be,
was just
I'm so
saying.
sorry.
I love it. No, on this podcast, my kids have interrupted it. Phone calls, you're all good. Yeah, I was saying, I think it's smart when you recognize, hey, today's just one of those days. It's
Yeah, it's
not.
just one of those days, right?
Yeah. Now, did you always, when you first got started, did it take time to earn the high end business, the exciting projects? Did it start off kind of lower budget than that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It starts off super low, and then you gotta kind of build up it because I get calls from guys all over the country. Hey, how do I get the high end clients, right? How do I get the high end clients? I said, dude, like it takes years
Mm,
of doing the small jobs that you don't want to do, saying what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and just build up that reputation. Because right now, most of our work is referral, right? That's
that's
just from
nice.
doing the shit that you didn't want to do for 30 years.
Yeah.
If a plant dies, you say you're going to replace it, you got to replace it.
Before
So,
you built the reputation that got you the referral business. I know referrals are always a part of any business at the
sure.
beginning, but how did you hunt down those customers?
Which one's the early part?
Early part, yeah. You're not
That's,
known yet. You're not on Forbes
somebody
yet.
gave me a shot.
Hmm.
Like I would give somebody else a shot. Like you just need one shot, right? You just got
Yeah.
to get that first client. You just need the first one. And then you just slowly, build and, you got to eat a lot of crow. You got to lose a lot of money. I call it, pay your tuition. You got to pay your tuition to making a lot of mistakes in business. And you just try to learn from your mistakes and move on, right? Keep moving
Yeah.
forward. Keep
Yeah.
moving forward. Everybody whines about a lot of this stuff. You just got to like I said, it's not for everybody. I try to tell some of the guys that listen, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Like your
100%.
workers are not you. If they can do what you can do and think like you can do, they wouldn't need you. They would
Yeah.
go their own business.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of how I would think that, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And like you said, it's part of its skill set. If they had the skill set, the other part is just the resilience. Can you stand the pressure of the ups and the downs and the unknown?
And can you stay in the game long enough?
Yeah. That was something that helped me. Again, I'm only 7 years into business, but year two, maybe year one, I was really, really not sure if I could keep going,
It's a grind. Everybody's like, oh, it's so funny. It's like, oh, I'm gonna start my own business. I can come when I want, leave when I want. Dude, it's 24/7.
Yes. Yes. Some of the worst days for me, especially in the early days of business, was when I had nothing to do. You're like, uh, what do I spend my time? Should I go
Yeah,
get more
it's kind of
clients?
weird.
It's a
It's kind
weird
of
feeling.
we're in the Northeast, so the winter's slow. Like I don't cut grass. I don't plow snow. So it's slow.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get a little freaked out. You start worrying about money and stuff like that. So you want to try to like get your head straight. You use that time to, refocus on personal growth, take new classes, get ready for the spring. Like, so you're in spring training for the upcoming season. Try to eat right. I
Yep.
mean, it's all that exercise, because when the gun goes off in the spring, man, you're working 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. That's again, I'm still learning how to do better on seasons like that. But if you're not careful, you just spend your time worrying and just like, oh man, what am I doing? Like I had a friend go, isn't it awesome when you have free time on your calendar? I'm like, not as a business owner. As a business owner,
No,
you're like, no, I want to be busy. Like, this is not a paid time off. An employee is going, hey, great, work's paying me to not show up today.
it,
That's not the same thing as a business owner, you
you
know?
try to like, I mean, I'm not one of those guys. Oh, I keep my phone on all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I shut the phone off. Like, I'm not a brain surgeon or heart or cardiologist. You don't
He
need to
can
call
wait.
me at 9 o'clock at night about your dead azalea, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I try to like shut it down, and I try to like, and then sometimes I have to work Sundays because clients and summer homes or whatever, but I try to shut Sundays down. Don't even turn the phone on. It's
Yeah.
all mental. It's all mental. You have to really prepare yourself for war,
Yeah.
for battle, right? Physically, mentally, spiritually. You have to have everything in line so you can deal with the next day.
We mentioned investing in personal growth in yourself, taking classes, reading books. Has there anything that as you look back over the 40 years that stands out as particularly helpful for you?
Done it all, man. Like, we've been to the Tony Robbins, we've been to, Grant's stuff. I work with a guy, Marshall Wilkinson, on the business mentorship a little bit. Um,
Would you recommend those things?
Oh yeah, for everybody. But what's even better now, when I started, it wasn't like it is now, like this podcast like you have, right? We
Right.
didn't have that. They didn't have an internet. I mean, there's no excuse. You can type in anything, get all the help you want.
Yeah.
Free, free.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. What's the biggest thing that Tony unlocked for you? Being a part of his event
oh, that
or
was years ago. I went with my older brother. We walked on the fire. That was pretty
did
cool.
you really? Did the coal
Yeah,
walk?
yeah, yeah. That's what I remember. I
That's
mean, he
cool.
talked for 3 days. He can go till 10, 11,
I
12
don't
o'clock at
get
night,
how he
but
can do that.
I don't know, but I just wanted to go home. I was done. Like by 10 o'clock,
Overwhelmed.
I'm like done, but the firework was cool, and I'll never forget that. My brother still talks about it. It had to be 15 years ago, more,
Yeah.
20.
It's amazing. He's still doing it. You
Yeah.
went 20 years ago and he's still doing
He's
those
still doing the
conferences.
firewalk.
From what I've heard, I mean, on his documentary, that came out a couple years ago, it showed people doing the firewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, my buddy went to him and his wife went when they were in Atlanta. I don't know which event it was, and he said it was the most surreal experience he's ever been a part of.
Bizarre.
Yeah, he was like, the energy in the room was wild. He was like, at one point, I'm hugging my neighbor, and I liked it. He was like, it was like almost like a church
Yeah,
religious
it's almost like
experience.
a hug fest, bro. It was, that gets a little, after a while, it gets a little much. It's a little
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Oh man, I love it. Okay, so for you personally, what have been some of the biggest lessons learned in business that you found helpful to pass along to other people coming up? Could be mistakes made, could be brilliant moves. I don't
Yeah.
know. What have been some of the bigger lessons?
Financial or just business wise, or
Whatever comes to mind.
so real quick, last summer we had a 8 foot high retaining wall fall down, right? Um, and I basically just told the guy may not want to come home for a little while. I got it under control, and I think the confidence that he heard in my voice, I took care of it.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest lessons is that take ownership. One of my other mentors told me the fish rots at the head. I'll never forget that.
Interesting.
The fish rots at the head, meaning you are the owner, you're responsible for everything. Oh, my guys did this and say forgot to do this and that. You are responsible for everything.
Wow.
You can't blame me. I got pulled over yesterday for talking on my cell phone. Like, I didn't sorry, I wasn't like, sorry,
Yeah, I did
ma'am.
it.
Like, sorry, ma'am. Like, took her like a man. Like, she pulled up alongside me. I'm on the phone. I'm like, shit. And then she let off the gas, pulled behind me, hit the lights, and I I didn't even tell my wife because she's
Here's my
going to be
license
like,
and registration.
I'm not going to tell my wife because she's like, isn't that like the third time you got caught? Like, when are you going to learn? Like, sometimes we don't learn.
We got to get you a hands-free device, man.
I got the hands-free device with the call that they tick, I don't know. I should have, my fault.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. No, ownership, Jocko Willenick, extreme ownership. I think it's a critical piece, and it's easy to do exactly what you're saying. Like the natural thing, for sometimes good reason, is my guys are screwing up. What, you're a dummy. What are you doing? But again, I hired him. I trained him.
I don't blame. You're the guy I hired, even with subcontractors. Don't care about your guy. Don't care.
Yeah.
Gee, I hired you. You fix your own shit.
Yeah. Super good. How about on the financial side? Lessons learned 40 years in business.
Wow, like 2008. Like 2008. I don't take anything.
Did that almost take you out?
Yeah, I had the house under foreclosure and they repossessed the cars and they took the two baby seats out of the cars one night. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. The guys were like, sorry, man. Like, I wasn't saying, oh, you can't take my car. I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. So, and I try to tell the new guys coming up, you guys are just spoiled. Like, everybody's calling me, oh man, business is down this year. How long you been in business? 3 years. Well, you started at COVID, and anybody with a half a brain can get a job because people were just throwing money and they would hire anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys don't know what it's really like to go out there, market, sell, earn the business, earn the reputation, and go forward. I think that's what enabled me to sustain all these years. Like, I've seen the ups and downs, so I know, you're not going to outsmart me. There's no way. There's no way you're going to outsmart me. 40 years, there's no freaking way.
Yeah.
Like,
tactically, how did you pull it from the ashes in 2008?
Just reach back into the bag of old clients and just again, by building that reputation and treating them fairly the time before, you can go back and pick the low hanging fruit, right? And work your way out of it. That's really I remember it was, like people calling, canceling big contracts, slowly, but everybody was in the same boat. So, I mean,
totally.
Nobody was spending money on a $300,000 backyard swimming pool.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was in the same situation. In the 90s, he crushed. He owned a commercial roofing business.
Yeah.
And crushed. And then 2008, he was like, I can't win a single bid.
So what was he doing? Going back to repairs, right? You just did repairs.
Trying, but even that, his main lifeline during that time was fixing the leaking roofs. But there was no new projects, and the ones that were, people were taking those projects at a loss, and he couldn't afford to take them at a loss, and it nearly crushed his business for sure.
Yeah, but again, like, they'll find the money to fix a leaky roof. They won't put a new roof on, but just freaking put a patch on it so it don't have, so he, out of necessity, mine is more luxury. Oh, you had to cut your grass, trim your bushes, but the leaky roof, you need to fix it.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So you got back, the benefit of you having 20 years before 2008 of doing great work, building great customer relationships means you could actually revisit them and that time of need and get a couple clients, get some things moving, start to get some things again.
Move. Sure.
Yeah.
Get a couple.
Doesn't solve everything, but it starts the ball moving in the right direction.
Got the ball moving, and I think actions help motivate. There's a term, I don't know what you probably know. Actions help you with your headspace, right? Whatever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Sitting around
with
the kids, no food and all that, it's just going to be in a bad neighborhood, right? Your head's a bad neighborhood. So you want it to do anything, even if you didn't make it, even if you made $1, actions will keep your ball rolling, right? And get you out of your own, keep you out of your own head.
Yes. Yeah. I had a mentor say momentum is the most precious energy in the universe.
Yeah, that was it. Something. Yeah, exactly. Same thing, right?
You don't have it, you feel it. The moment you get it, you're onto something.
Yeah, just keep rolling, right? So even if you're not feeling good, try to work out, try to go for a run, try to go for a walk, just get your body moving.
Yeah. Was it a dark time mentally for a little bit there?
No, it was just,
Or you just got moving quick?
Yeah, just move. Like, I mean, you're sitting, 2 kids, wife, mortgage. Okay, cried about it for 24 hours. Let's go. Like,
Yeah. That's that influence of your dad, the
yeah,
hardworking,
yeah.
no
Oh, yeah.
nonsense.
Oh, let me tell you something. When he was in construction in New York City in the 70s, his company did the foundation for the World Trade Center, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like 12 and I got a new bicycle and he was working a lot of overtime. So things were good. But then
Yeah.
when New York City I forget when it was, like New York City almost went bankrupt. He would get laid off a lot. Yeah, you get
Interesting.
laid off. You get laid off, and then as work picks up, you laid off. But he had 5 kids, and I remember we owned the hot dog truck, we owned the rototilling company, just to whatever, right? Just
Keep
to
it on.
keep it on. I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I definitely learned from him. Whatever you can do,
Yeah.
you got to do.
Dude, what a great example though, especially for hard times.
Yeah,
Especially for hard times. Like, that's where that kind of grit most clearly separates itself from everything else.
yeah. That's like I said, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So everybody can go along, and when things are good, it's when the things hit the fan
Yeah.
is when you really see who's got it or who doesn't got it.
Yeah, man.
I
Uh,
love that part of it,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's a guy. I was going to mention him earlier. I want to shout him out. There's a guy named David Meltzer. Have you ever heard of David Meltzer?
Yeah, I was on one of his things one time on Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah, I
killer.
know Meltzer. Yeah,
Okay, I don't know him well, but when I was
yeah.
referencing earlier when I wanted to quit,
He got clobbered.
oh, he got clobbered. Yeah. But he mentioned something that on one of his Instagram videos that kept me going, which he said, early in business, your only goal is to keep the lights on one more day.
Yeah,
And he said, if you can do that long enough, eventually you will not be in the season of keeping the lights on. You will have outpaced your competitors who couldn't keep the lights on one more day, and you got a chance to succeed. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I got one more day. I got one more day. And so that was super helpful. And then the other thing he said, I think maybe it was him. I think it was him that he talked about the extra mile is the loneliest mile.
yeah,
And he's like, if you want to outpace your competitors, be in that extra mile and you won't find anybody around you. Like going that extra mile, pushing harder than them, going
yeah.
beyond, right?
It's always yeah. One of the maybe a little tip or a little hack I've been using for years is I get up early and I always email my clients at like 4:30 in the morning,
Huh.
5 o'clock, right?
Is that a little like psychological signal of I'm already at it?
I'm already out. I'm thinking about your project, bro. I haven't had coffee. I'm thinking about your house. Like that's
That's
helped me a
cool.
lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. For
It's
this any service business, that is a great hack.
absolutely.
If I wake up and I'm getting my coffee, let's say kids at 7 o'clock, and I see that I got an email at 4:45 from the landscape guy I'm paying a buttload of money, I'm like, dude, this guy's on it.
He's
That's
on
awesome.
it, man. On it. Like a hornet.
Yes. Here's what I'm curious about with your personality, even the New York part of you. You got to run into jerk customers, people that just are a pain in the butt, complain about everything.
We all get them, man.
What do you do with that? Like, you're such a nice guy, yet you also got this hard nature to you, no nonsense. Like, how do you put up with a tough customer like that?
You try to red flag them early on, but I don't
Can't
know.
always filter them out.
No, no, I don't know, care what,
Yeah.
but there must have been something. If after I hit the bed, whatever, if I go back and look at it and I think long enough, I'm like, wait a minute, like there's got to be something there. Like I just didn't see it. I
Hmm.
was lured by the big check, right? But if I really looked at it, I would
There's a couple
seen the
red
red flag.
flags. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, like when you don't, when you're not real busy and you need the work, you'll ignore the red flags. You know,
100%.
as things gotten better and we've been doing this one, it's not like that anymore. Like I'm just gonna be like, listen, thank you for the opportunity. It's just not the right opportunity, right? So
Yeah.
I'm finding that saying no has helped me a lot more. Pick the right clients because most of them are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, every so often you get, just one that's just been a nightmare, right?
Yeah. Do you have any like standard operating procedure with that? Like keep calm, do the job, or do you have like no, man? I tell them, screw you. All right, I'm
In,
done.
in, in what way? Like in what?
Some people have kind of their strategy of like, hey, man, no matter how the customer is, we're gonna see the job through. We're gonna be respectful. Other people are like, no, if they're a jerk to me, I'm gonna tell them straight, or I'm gonna pull the project. Like, how have
I
you
don't
kind of
know.
typically handled that?
It kind of depends, right?
Case by case.
Yeah, kind of like a lot of times it's the husband and wife, and then they don't see eye to eye on certain things. I'm stuck in the middle,
Yeah.
right? I'm stuck in the middle, and then you always try to work. Yeah, I always try to work through it.
Find a way.
Hey, let's meet. Let's go over. Let's address all your issues. No problem. You know, you're in the customer service business.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So I got to read that you also got to be on some TV shows. You got to
Yeah.
be featured on Bravo. What was that experience like?
Oh, that was good. That was we did Backyard Envy, several episodes with Backyard Envy.
Cool.
Um,
Did you have to apply for that? Did they reach out to you? Like, how
yeah,
does
no,
that
they
work?
reached out. There was I mean, I wasn't the host. I was the contractor, right? Like
Right.
you see those HGTVs, and I'm the contract.
Yeah.
So they would set it up, and our team would go in there and do the work.
Was that cool?
Not really, because they got all the glory, right?
Oh, so did they not even highlight like who the
Yeah,
contractor was?
they did. They did. Hey, this is Steve. He's our contractor that we use for all our cool projects in upstate. So it's we have a good relationship. We still talk today.
Did it
We
pay
still,
well?
nah,
Eh,
not where you, not I don't see how they can do these jobs for like, oh, we can do this backyard for $28,000. There's no way.
yeah.
So but it was a good experience. The deadlines were very tight. Like
Yeah.
they would show up, film, and then they would leave, and they say, okay, we'll be back tomorrow for the reveal, right? And everything had to be done.
Did
It
it
was
lead
cool. We
to
did that for like 2 seasons.
more business or not impact business?
Yeah, we get some things, see you on Bravo kind of thing, but nothing, nothing. It was just good experience, right? Like again, like we said, like when you guys reached out for the podcast, I immediately jumped on it.
Yeah.
Right when they reached out for me for Bravo, they were doing a show in town, and they were reaching out to contractors. I jumped right on it. So I think part of it is, don't say just, you never know what the opportunity is going to be, right?
Yeah.
So I said yes. It was a small job for them, and then we've done 7 episodes, and I was on it for 2 years in a row, right? So
Wow.
you never know what comes from it, right? And we refer each other all the time now, still.
Wow.
The three people that they actually own a landscape company called the Manscapers in Manhattan.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's very cool.
Well, I want to give you credit for what you're saying because my experience with you, you're the only guest that's ever done this, and that is, we had to reschedule for some reason. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, it was I got the link, and it was like, all right, cool. He wants to do it on Labor Day. All right, no problem. I'll do
Oh,
it. And
that's
you
what
were
it
away.
was. Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
like,
was
Labor Day's
away.
good. I'm hanging out. That's cool. So I was like, all right, that's no problem.
Yeah. So I did not realize it got scheduled on Labor Day, and I'm out of town with my family and kids and all that kind of thing. So, anyways, he was gracious enough, one, to reschedule, but two, he goes, "Hey, I went ahead and bought your book, and I read it." And he read it from that.
Yeah, kind of. It was good. Like it was an easy read. I bought it
Yeah,
on Kindle. It was, I don't know, $6 or whatever, and it was like,
yeah. But
yeah,
my point though is like that just shows your personality. That shows your character. That again, not even character. Character is the wrong word. It's not that you would have no character doing that. Like you have a very much seize the opportunity. Why not? Like, hey, I'm on this podcast. Let me learn more about it. This
yeah,
guy,
yeah.
like that is a unique trait that I haven't seen as demonstrated by other guests as much as you. Like that's really cool.
Really? Like I mean, I want to know what I listen. I want to kind of try to help you as much as you help
Yeah,
me,
I've
right? So
for sure, and
yeah,
I've that sentiment and action has come across from other guests for sure. But it's came across in a unique way where it shocked me. I was like, one, he did the research even fine because I don't promote the book hardly ever, that type of thing. I'm like, oh, he did the
yeah.
research on
I
me.
found it. Go for it. I found it.
Found go for it, and then he's buying
Google it.
it.
Google it. Like Google the guy's name. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like, put a little effort in. Like,
Yes. So that was cool because normally I'm doing that to the guest, right? Like normally I'm the one researching you and finding out that kind of thing. It was like this guy took the time to research me and to spend an afternoon reading my short little book. And so
yeah, okay,
that
cool.
that just told me like, man, this is probably a trait he's done throughout his life as a person in
Always.
business that has really helped him.
Yeah, yeah. I had written a book also. It was a hardcover book that we use for um, promotion of the landscape projects, right? But it's mainly like photos of jobs, and I don't expect anyone to read it, but it is a good. Anybody that's in business or what you do should write a book or something, because
Yes,
it does raise your credibility. Absolutely.
exactly.
Like if me and you are going against a job, and I've been doing this for 40 years, and I have a book and you don't have a book, and we're the same price, I'm getting the job. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
Like I would do the same thing for anybody else too.
100%.
You want to
Yeah,
be an authority in the space, right?
I think Tony Robbins was the one that said this one time that I heard, and he said, he's like, "I'm not discouraging anybody from writing a book with the possibility of the book making a lot of money." He's like, "The odds just are lower than they've ever been." And he said, "But I would tell you to write a book for the credibility." Right? And that's kind of what you're talking about, where it's got to be something you care about. Like you wrote about your subject, I wrote about something I cared about. I still recommend it to someone who needs it if I like, "Oh, you need to read my book." Outside of that, it's just been a great kind of credibility for, like you said, if I'm competing against another coaching company or
Yeah.
someone's invited me to speak, they're like, "Hey, he's the author of this. He's the podcast host of this. He's worked with these companies." It's part of that resume, you
It
know?
all helps. And it wasn't cheap. You know, it was a hardcover book. So the pictures were well done. It was glossy. It was a lot of money, but it's a good marketing tool, right? As
Yep.
they say. That was an experience too. As you know, writing a book is not easy,
Uh-uh.
you know.
That was a tough year for me.
Yeah, but it's, but I don't know. Everybody talks a good game about it. Like, oh, I should do this. I should do that. Just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's part of your book, right? Just, part of your book that you wrote. Like, don't sit
Don't
around,
wait
be
around.
bored. Don't be bored. You're not tired. You're bored.
That's right. That's right. You remembered that. That's right. Yeah. That was advice a buddy gave me. I was just tired all the time. And he said, "Man, what if you're not tired? What if you're just bored?" And it hit me
Like,
like a
that's
dump
good.
truck.
That's like sometimes, like you said when we first started, you were like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting around, sitting around. I'm like, oh, my head. I'm like, you're not busy enough. There's times here when it's like the middle of August when it's business is a little slow. I'm freaking tired all the time.
Yep.
Tired. I was bored. I'm like freaking. But
Yeah.
now when like got like 4 jobs going and freaking rushing home, I got to be on this podcast 3:30. Get changed and go back to the job site. That kind of motivates you, right? So it's
Yes.
purpose.
Yes. 100%. Purpose fuels you. I always tell people, your brain makes you justify every calorie it spends.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you haven't given it a reason, like, "Hey, we're doing this for this reason," it'll start to say, "Relax." It'll put you in like a kind of
Oh
a
yeah, easy. You're working too hard.
easy,
Take it
easy.
easy.
Yeah. Which we don't do well. Most people don't do well after, I mean, for a little bit, yeah, a good break, a good time with family. But if that's your normal day to day, you kind of fall into that depressed slump
Yeah.
energy, you know?
Let me tell you something, man. I've seen a lot of depression, and even in my own family, um, it's amazing how they're kind of flat, flat, flat. And I keep, dude,
It's a
you
tough
got to
thing to
get a
get out of.
job.
Yes.
You know, I'm not listen to pills and all that, whatever. But I'm telling you, I've seen people's lives change getting a job and just doing the action. Freaking miraculous. Like,
Yes.
I'm not saying it's the cure all for all, but certainly better than sitting around being in your own shit.
Absolutely.
But it's
Hey,
hard though when you're in that space. I remember my brother suffered from it really bad. Like, it was like, I don't understand the anxiety and the inner stuff that goes on, but like physically cannot get out of bed.
yeah.
Like, it's sad, but it's kind of, oh, just get up and go to work and go work out. If you really suffer from it, from what I understand,
Yeah.
it's not that easy. So my heart
Yeah.
goes out to all those people that are suffering from that type of depression and anxiety. It's a real thing.
Yeah. I went through it. For me, it's more on the anxious side than the
Oh
depressed
yeah.
side. And I went through a few spells in the last 7 years where it doesn't make sense to anyone else, you know? But I always tell, if you see someone who's been in a depressed or an anxious state taking an action, they just did the bravest thing they've ever done.
What's the difference between the depression and the anxious? Because one of my brothers has anxiety from like, anxiety, whatever,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's,
panic attack
yep. I've had
anxiety,
those.
right? Like,
Yep.
he said it's you just want to rip your hair out. Like,
Yeah.
it's so freaking scary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
Um,
it's like your body can't relax, your mind and your
yeah,
body, and you are constantly being flooded like with a built-in part of your system, right? Your system has said, if we perceive danger, we're going to motivate you through cortisol, through adrenaline, through things like that, but you're safe. And so you're having this weird juxtaposition of like, I'm not in any danger, but my mind is spinning. My body is feeling, random things. Might be a panic attack, which is a flood of adrenaline, tightness in the chest, random stuff. And you don't really know what's going on versus a depressed thing. They can often be together. Anxiety can lead to depression. Depression can lead to anxiety. But a depressed state is just a state of hopelessness and low energy.
yeah, it's terrible.
You're just like, nothing's going to help me. There's no way out of this. And every idea, this is what I haven't struggled as much with depression, but from clients I've worked with, every idea just sounds like it's not going to work.
Yeah,
And
there's
that's the
no
trap.
hope. Yeah, well, you lose hope, right?
So they might hear you say, get a job, and they go, it's not going to help.
Yeah. Oh,
You don't
yeah.
get it. And you have to get enough, which sometimes medicine helps. You have to get enough distance to see the game, to go, my brain's lying to me right now. It's telling me it's not going to work. I'm going to override that. And that's why I mean it's the bravest moment, where that person goes and volunteers on a Saturday
Yes.
instead of staying in their house, and they go, I feel a little better. Maybe not amazing, but they're like, it's a little data that goes in and goes, hey, that felt a little better getting out of my house and being a part of something. Maybe I'll try it again next Saturday.
Yep.
And then it starts that momentum of like slowly climbing out, and the fog kind of lifts, and you're like, holy crap, I do have
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, volunteering is very good. So, I can't get
Huge.
a job. Go volunteer at
Go
the
volunteer.
soup kitchen. You'll feel better
100%.
helping somebody.
Humans heal. This is a phrase I've adopted from someone that helped me. Humans heal humans.
Yeah,
Being around other people, finding like you got some purpose to your day. You still may have felt like shit, but you helped someone, and you're like,
absolutely.
okay, my self-image just increased a little bit. I
Yeah,
helped someone today, right? I got some purpose to why I'm waking up today, other than watching Netflix again or whatever. And so that's what it was for me. The last time it hit, I was just looking around. I was like, no one's coming to save my family. Like,
they're
I'm
not
the
coming to.
provider.
Yeah, you got to. Oof.
I got to find my freaking way out of this.
No one's
And
saying.
so,
No one's coming to save you.
no. And so for me, it was the phrase that I use. I'm going to bring the anxiety with me until it doesn't come anymore.
Yeah,
And so I had to just choose, like, I'm going to show up to this podcast. I'm going to get on this plane and go speak. I mean, one of the times it was happening, I was speaking in front of 3,000 people, and they had no idea it took every ounce of my energy to get on that plane and go say yes to that date.
you had a panic attack, huh?
Yeah. Or I could have had one. Like, I was in the state where it could happen, and you were worried, is it going to happen? I was like, I don't care if it does. I got to provide. I got to build this
Yeah.
business. I got to
No,
provide for my family.
that's
And
it.
that, for an anxious person, that's the only way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot avoid. The
Got to go
moment
through it, right? You have to go right through it.
the moment you avoid the plane, it's now a thing. The moment you say, can't go to that social function, it's now a thing. And now it's like, you won't stop being a thing until you go to the social function, whether you feel that way or not.
Yeah.
Whether you get on stage, whether you feel that way or not. Right. And so that's the tough pill, is like, you're not allowed to dictate my life anymore. And
Yeah.
what's amazing is it literally goes back
Worked.
to, like, I feel like a totally normal person.
Yeah.
Like, it goes back to a proper place of, yeah, I might feel anxious every now and then for a reason, but it's on the normal spectrum.
Well, you kind of know how to. Okay,
I know
this
the
is what's
game, dude.
happening. Yeah, this is what's happening.
I know
Go
the
fuck
game.
off. Yeah,
Yep.
right. Just tell it to no room here. Got to go, and then just keep going.
Yep. 100%. And so again, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I don't often get to talk about it on here, but I empathize with those people. It's like, I know the medicine, but I also know how hard it is to take the medicine.
Yeah.
Your brain is tricking you. Nothing's going to help. But if anyone's listening right now that is struggling, I promise you it gets better. I promise. There's moments I just could not imagine it getting better. And I promise, if you stick around long enough, it will get better. You will find a way through. There'll be someone that comes to help. There'll be a mentor. There'll be
Listen,
something.
I don't talk about it either, but my brother took his own life because of it.
Yep.
I mean, I remember him saying he just felt so bad, like, just, oh my God, it was like, and then the insurance was not good, and they were just giving him all kind of medicine, and he was a smart guy. He was actually a registered nurse, and I know what they were giving him. It just is like, there's no, it's terrible, man. Yeah. So yeah, I know exactly where you're going to. He would work with me, landscape, and feel better, and then it was just very up and down. It's
Up
very,
and down.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Terrible disease.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your brother.
Yeah, man. It just was scary. Yeah. So I know it very, very well.
And that's the thing that kept haunting me, was like, if I let this feeling go longer, I know where it leads, and I know the pain it would create for the people around me.
Yeah.
The kids without me growing up, my wife without me growing up, friends, and it was those moments that were like, we got to figure this shit out.
But the way it was explained, the pain is so great. Like, it's
so intense.
And I remember saying, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Because when you're a registered nurse, you think you're a little smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's not going to, so he's like, so now he's smarter than the doctors, and he's smarter than everybody. Nothing's going to work. And it's just like, all right.
The trick.
So it's tricky stuff. So
that's
that's
the trick the brain plays.
Appreciate you sharing that too, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Last question. What's got you most excited looking forward to the next few years in business? I know you're still in the game. You're still hunting.
The hunt.
Is it just always the hunt?
What do I get most excited about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so expanding to other parts geographically to do what I do, right? So we've
Yeah.
hooked up with a couple of companies. I've been out to Sacramento. I think that would be kind of cool for me. Like
Yeah.
that's one of my things. Like, hey, kids are gone now, right? Because when kids are gone, I would love to go do a project somewhere warm.
Cool.
Like, why not? Like I can basically take my craft and go elsewhere, which is fine. Like that'd be cool. Spend the winter somewhere.
Atlanta's warm. Come down here.
Yeah,
Come get some
Atlanta's
business down
warm,
here.
Caribbean's warm, so I don't, New York in the winter is not a good, like, you talk about your headspace.
Yes.
That's long and dark. So you got to try to keep it going. So it's long and dark. It's just too long. It's, December, January, February. It's cold and it's dark. That is definitely what I'm looking forward to in the next few years, to take a little time off in the winter.
Heck yeah. Well, if we got someone, there's how I usually like to end. If we've got someone here listening that wants your services, they got a big project, they got a big budget, and they want something killer.
It don't have to be a big budget. It doesn't have to be. Everybody thinks that it has to be a huge budget or don't touch it. But basically, it's everybody that has their own space, their own living space, whether it's an apartment in Manhattan, a little terrace, make it your own. Like, whatever that is, right? If it's a little patio with a Lowe's fire pit, just get yourself some space outside where you can call it your own. It's your little sanctuary space. You don't need to have listen, I tell everybody all the time, I can get just as wet in a Target blow-up pool than I can in the $300,000 pool. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like design something that fits your lifestyle, fits your budget. Like you don't want to have a $300,000 house in an $800,000 backyard. And I also tell them, listen, the backyard is a very good investment nowadays. So you treat it as an investment. You treat it as an investment. It's an investment in your it's an investment in
resale.
You resale, and it's basically in your own personal well-being. And who doesn't like coming home to a nice place, man?
Absolutely.
Super important for your headspace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Steve, this has been a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on, being yourself, sharing your story. You were an inspiration, buddy.
Thanks, man. Have a good one, Drew.
You too.
Founders, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and hop into our monthly founder email so we can ensure you stay on the edge of peak performance and massive business results.